Good morning, English 9 parents. It's been a little while since we've touched base, so sorry about that. But I'm really excited to catch you up on what it is that we've been working on here. In short, it's been a lot of work with Of Mice and Men. It is a 6-chapter book, nice and tiny, but students did a really, really nice job finding all of the different layers that were tucked inside this book. So really excited by the work we did. I thought they did a fantastic job. And one extra kind of thing I wanted to highlight about that is it's a book that comes with some challenging language. And so it was a really good challenge for our students to think a little bit about how it's not good enough to say Steinbeck, our author, uses bad language, that's not quite enough, because it's not like John Steinbeck was running around using this language, but he has his characters use it. So we then get to ask that question of why. Why does he have these migrant workers, these men who are living on this ranch, who are really isolated? Why are they using the language that they are? I thought that was a great challenge for our students, and they did a really nice job navigating it overall. And the other thing I love about the book is, again, it's tiny and it's accessible, but the symbolism, the foreshadowing, the ability for us to analyze cause and effect really lays the groundwork for a lot of what we're going to be doing in second semester. So I think it's a great place for us to start. We just started our essays for Of Mice and Men. And they're argumentative essays. So even though it's a work of fiction, we're working on our argument writing. So some of them are taking on whether Curly's wife is a villain or is she a victim. Kind of an interesting one to play with. Some are taking a look at whether or not George, one of our main characters, made the right choice at the end of the book. Some students are stepping outside of the actual characters, and they're weighing the pros and cons of the book as a whole. Should the book remain as a part of the English 9 curriculum? So they're making some really interesting arguments, and while we want them to certainly stay true to their opinion, we'll also be talking about how most arguments, the best arguments, are usually not black or white. It's usually not absolutes. So we'll also be talking a little bit about where is it that you need to concede, where are those concessions, and how do you navigate those? How do you say that in truth there's probably some shades of gray when it comes to some of these questions? You still feel this way, but you're also able to acknowledge kind of that other perspective, and how do you address it? I think that's really important that we work on those skills. So we're going to be working on those particular skills towards the end of the week, and so the video that I plan to send out either Friday or Monday will kind of address what we tried to do there. At this point, we're done with one body paragraph as well as kind of our outline. I guess I should have started there. So they outlined, they got feedback on those. And we've been working on body paragraphs really throughout the semester. Throughout the book, we certainly worked on it. And then we did some group paragraph writing, which I thought was really good on Monday, just to set us up for some success. So I included a picture of a sample of that, just because that image, you're going to see a lot of different colors, which is great. And that was a really good thing, because what they were asked to do is kind of highlight all of the writing moves they made, all of the different pieces that are working together. And that way, when they go to write their own body paragraphs, and their first one was due today, they kind of knew all of the different things that should be working together. So if you're curious how your student is coming along with that, there are a couple ways that you can check in. One is on Skyward. There are, I think, 5 new assignments that I posted in there. And they're not necessarily for grades. They're just going to be check minus, or missing. That way you can kind of just see the progress. So they're not necessarily getting graded, but it's showing you, are they on pace a little bit to make sure things are getting done when they need to. So check Skyward. If your student has a check, then they're in good shape. They crafted the paragraph. They're going to get some feedback. But that just lets you know they're on track. If you see a check minus, that means your student did part of the paragraph, but it's incomplete. They need to go back, ideally this evening, and wrap that up, because we're going to continue to move forward. And if it's missing, then they're behind, and we need to make sure we get involved early with that, because if all of a sudden one paragraph turns into 2 paragraphs missing, we're in danger of that essay not getting done, and we don't want that to happen. So take kind of a close look there. The other big thing that you can do to help, whether you see a check minus, or a missing, is to ask to kind of hear what it is that they are working on. So whether they have written that first paragraph perfectly or not, ask your student about the essay overall. How are they planning on kind of building it? What's their topic? What's the stance that they went with? And how are they planning on working their way through? You don't have to know the book to be able to figure out whether or not they feel confident with that or not. You'll know from their ability to kind of explain that line of reasoning what their comfort level is. And if it's not strong, that means you need to get involved, or at the very least encourage them to come see me, and so we can get involved with that as well. Hopefully we were able to work through some of those kinks with their outlines, but if they are not able to articulate that, then certainly that's something you want to encourage them to get involved with earlier. The other thing is, again, at this point they should have at least one paragraph done. Their goal is to have 2 paragraphs done by the time I see them on Friday. Ask them if you can go ahead and read that paragraph, or have them read it to you. I think that's a really good thing too. And again, you don't need to know the book. So, if your student's looking for feedback, or if you can talk your student into it, read that paragraph or read those couple paragraphs and summarize it. Often what students intend to say and what they actually write, there's a little bit of a gap there. So if you can summarize it for them, what it is that you understood, your student's going to know if their intent came across clearly. That's what we want. So see if you can talk them into reading it aloud to you, or if that makes them incredibly nervous, read it, but then your job is just to summarize. And to then say, did I get it all? And if they say, kind of, or no, then you get to encourage them to say, okay, well then you need to go back because it's not clear to your reader. All right, final thing, and then we'll get you out of here. Independent reading, still a really big deal in this class. We're still doing that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Students are chatting with me. We're doing reading conferences, so I'm sitting down with your student just about every 2 to 3 weeks and just catching up on what they've been reading, what they're liking, and where they're thinking of going next. Knowing that we're going into the holiday season, if you are still looking for a gift or two, if that's something that's on your to-do list, consider giving the gift of literacy. Give a book. I think that really communicates something to your student, whether they're a big reader or not, to say, this is something that we value, and even if it's something that hasn't been a big part of your lives or students' lives in the past, it should be moving forward. So consider giving the gift of literacy through a book. And if you need any recommendations, please let me know. I'd love to share a little bit of kind of what's been on some bestseller lists and what might be really good for young adults. So thanks for listening. Sorry, I know it's a little bit longer of a video than normal, but lots to unpack. If there are any questions or anything like that, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. And I look forward to touching base again before we head into our holiday break. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.